All right, I wanted to wait until free agency was officially over so I knew a little bit more information about where the key free agents were going to be signing. Here is my updated post free agency mock draft. Welcome to Jets Talk. My name's Ryan. I'll be your pilot today. If you're new here, hit that subscribe button. If you've been here before, welcome back. I love having you here. Guys, I'm going to be doing my mock draft contest again. It's just the first round. I'm going to leave a link in the description down below. Totally free to enter, but you guys could win some cool cash prizes. So I think we're up to about 100 players in the contest, but definitely check that out down below. It contest locks, I think, a day before the draft, so you can update everything before then if you feel the need to. So I've been saying I'm going to do a full first round mock draft. I was going to do it before free agency, and then I decided that's a lot of work to just get it pushed out and then have to redo everything anyway. So here's my first round mock draft. I want to give you guys a little bit of knowledge into how I determined each pick. I go into every fan forum for each individual team and kind of get an idea from first pick down to 32nd pick where players sort of fall and what teams kind of are hoping their teams do. There's guys that players or teams in the 20s really wanted that I had getting drafted a little bit earlier, so I had to kind of use my best judgment. I used a little bit of Pro Football Focus in here to kind of grade some of these players, but I also used some of my own knowledge in the draft and whatnot. So if you don't like the pick, let me have it. Yell at me down below. I'm also going to put all the links to all the forums that I've used down in the description below, as well as quick time hop links for each individual team. So if you don't want to sit through all 30 picks, you could jump right to your team. Try to make it a little bit easier for you guys. All right, let's jump right into it. My first player off the board, the Cincinnati Bengals. We have Joe Burrow, quarterback out of LSU. He's 6'4", 216 pounds, graded out as a 94.9 on Pro Football Focus. This is going to be the easiest pick of the draft. It's take the best quarterback available, and I really think that is Joe Burrow. He had one of the best seasons a quarterback could have. Yes, he has a little bit smaller hands, and you guys could laugh and make jokes about it, but I think the Bengals are going to get a very good quarterback here, and I think it's just very easy to make this selection. At number 2, we have the Washington Redskins, and I have them selecting Chase Young, the defensive end out of Ohio State. 6'5", 265 pounds, had a Pro Football Focus grade of 96.1. The guy was an absolute animal and probably the best player overall in this draft. Now, I sort of had a little bit of difficulty making this pick for the Redskins. Knowing they were at 2, it was a little bit easier, I guess. I definitely see them trading Trent Williams, so I think offensive tackle is going to be a need for them. If they get offered some type of trade up, I think they'd be okay trading back a little bit because I don't think defensive end or edge rusher is necessarily their biggest need, but I think it would be a mistake to pass on Chase Young here. So Redskins, you get an elite defensive player and rush the quarterback for the next 10 years. At number 3, I have the Detroit Lions making the first trade of this mock draft, and that's going to the Miami Dolphins. They're going to come up and try to take their quarterback of the future. Now, the trade value chart is kind of where I'm trying to base all my trades from, and yes, I know it's not an exact science, but it can give you a rough estimate for what you're kind of looking for. And for the Dolphins to jump up from 5 up to 3, it's going to cost them about 500 points, which would be roughly their number 39 pick. But because there's a quarterback involved here, I'm going to say they have to give up number 26, their third of their first round picks towards the end of the first round, to jump up the 2 spots needed in order to select their quarterback of the future. That quarterback is going to be Tua Tagovailoa with the 6-foot-tall, 218-pound, graded out as a 90.3 on Pro Football Focus. The Dolphins get their signal call of the future. Everyone's expecting this to happen. They trade away a ton of pieces, so they could move up in the draft. I don't think they wait at number 5 to have their quarterback. They traded away the pieces so they could make this move up. You get the guy you want. Don't screw around with it. Don't risk the Chargers jumping up in front of you. Get your guy. I don't particularly like it as a Jet fan because I think the Dolphins are actually kind of trending up here, and they could leave my Jets high and dry. But Tagovailoa goes to the Dolphins at number 3. At number 4, I have the New York Giants, and they are going to take Isaiah Simmons, the linebacker safety from Clemson. He's 6'4", 230 pounds, had an 88.5 Pro Football Focus grade, and he is absolutely a Swiss Army knife when it comes to the defensive side of the ball. And the Giants, they lost Landon Collins last year. They need a pass rush. They need a little bit more of a presence on that defense, more of an identity. They had the least amount of money spent on their roster on the defensive side of the ball in the NFL, and it wasn't even close. I think the next closest team was like double whatever they were spending. So I think the Giants getting Isaiah Simmons is going to be their number one kind of goal. I think defense here. You could argue tackle because I think Nate Solder could be gone after this past year, and they could take the best offensive lineman here. Wouldn't shock me in the slightest. Jet fans, or Giant fans rather, let me know in the description down below, or in the comments down below, what you guys think your team's going to wind up doing. This is sort of what I had. I could see the Giants wanting to trade out of the number 4 pick if the Lions decide they want to take whatever player they want at number 3. I don't think this is a given by any stretch of the imagination, but Isaiah Simmons to the Giants at number 4. At number 5, the Lions slid back from number 3 with the Miami Dolphins. They pick up Jeffrey Okudah, the cornerback from Ohio State, 6'1", 199 pounds, graded out as an 83.5 on Pro Football Focus. Now, the Lions did just get Desmond Trufant, and I think that's going to be an area that they still want to address. Trufant's not the youngest guy in the building, but I think it could definitely be, I think it would be a good move overall. You're getting a top defensive player. I think defense is kind of where they're looking to go here. I would think they want Simmons to fall to them, but I think the Giants are going to snag him. If Simmons does fall down to 5, I could see the Lions making that move as well. At number 6, I have the Chargers selecting their quarterback of the future, 6'6", 237-pound Justin Herbert, the quarterback from Oregon. He graded out as an 82.6 on Pro Football Focus. And there's a little bit of speculation with the Chargers because Cam Newton is working out with Tyrod Taylor. Cam Newton, obviously a free agent, could come in to San Diego, or sorry, LA. Didn't mean to let that slip. I could see them bringing in a veteran quarterback, although they have made it known that they don't plan on bringing in a veteran quarterback. They have Tyrod Taylor under contract, and he is just a fine stopgap. So I think the move is going to be take your future signal caller in Justin Herbert. The guy is a West Coast, icon on that side of the country. I think it'll help them open up the new LA stadium. I think they select their future signal caller, Justin Herbert, at number 6. At number 7, the Panthers, I have them taking Derek Brown, the defensive tackle from Auburn. He's 6'5", 318 pounds. He's a big, beefy guy. 90.8 overall grade on Pro Football Focus. Panther fans definitely want Simmons here from what I've kind of gathered in their forums, but I think Derek Brown is an elite level talent, and I think they'll be fine with just getting him as well. He could be their new Chris Jenkins on that defense for Matt Rule. At number 8, I had the Cardinals originally taking a wide receiver that was before the DeAndre Hopkins trade. Now, obviously, I had to kind of rethink that. I think they're more than likely going to be taking an offensive tackle, so insert whatever top offensive tackle you think is here. I put Tristan Wirfs from Iowa, the tackle there. I don't know if you're going to necessarily agree on that ranking, but I think the top tackle probably goes in the slot. He's 6'5", 320 pounds, graded out as a 91.8 on Pro Football Focus. Now, I think this is a smart move. You protect Kyler Murray. You give him a little more time to get the ball down to DeAndre Hopkins. I think you build that offensive line, and you kind of keep plugging away. At number 9, we have the Jacksonville Jaguars, and I kind of flipped back and forth on this pick. I know they probably want Simmons. Simmons is going to be a hot name. I think he's probably going to be gone by the 9th pick. But I flipped back and forth between Kinlaw, a wide receiver, and an offensive tackle. Based on the drop-off that we've kind of seen from the offensive tackles, I think they're going to go with a top tackle here. They'll get the number 2 tackle off the board. I have them taking Andrew Thomas out of Georgia, 6'5", 320 pounds, 92.5 overall Pro Football Focus grade. You get a bookend left tackle at a dominant conference. I think it's a smart move by the Jaguars. Protect your signal caller. The next 2 picks are going to be very interesting, and that's the Cleveland Browns and the New York Jets. Both teams are definitely going to be looking for a left tackle, and both teams are probably in on the Trent Williams trade. Now, I think the Browns could possibly be looking at Trent Williams because Callahan, the offensive line coach for Trent Williams the last few years, is now the offensive line coach for the Cleveland Browns. So look for that to potentially be an option for them, in which case I would have to change this pick to another player. No idea who that would be at this point, but right now we're going to say they don't get Trent Williams. The Browns draft Mekhi Becton, the offensive tackle from Louisville, 6'7", 369 pounds, graded out as an 82.6 on Pro Football Focus. Now, you cannot teach size, and Mekhi Becton has a ton of it. They just got Jack Conklin, so you add the left tackle in Mekhi Becton on the other side, and you have 2 bookend tackles to protect Baker Mayfield for the foreseeable future. Now we get to the number 11 overall pick, and that's my New York Jets, and I'm a little disheartened because 3 of the top tackles are now off the board, and I know a lot of people are going to say, hey, there's still a 4th tackle. Why don't you go out and take that? Forget about the offensive line. And here's my thinking. I think Joe Douglas probably has a plan. I think he is looking at these top 4 tackles, and there's a real good chance that he may only like 2 of them. And if those 2 are gone by that pick, I could see him going in another direction. I could see a trade down here. I originally had us looking at a trade down. I ultimately wanted us to take the best playmaker on the board. You help out Sam Darnold, and that is my player I've been preaching the entirety of this offseason, and that's CeeDee Lamb. I really think he is the best wide receiver in this draft. He's out of Oklahoma, 6'2", 191 pounds, and is a 90 overall on Pro Football Focus. With the departure of Robbie Anderson, the Jets are left with a pretty big void at wide receiver, and yes, we did sign Brashad Perriman, who I am very excited for, but because of his injury history and his kind of up and down play, I don't think you can really bank on it being a consistent wide receiver this entire year. So I think the Jets are going to add a top-tier wide receiver in one of the top 2 rounds, and just because of the way the board fell, even though I wanted us to go offensive tackle in the first round, I think we wind up with CeeDee Lamb, and I absolutely love it. I will run up to the podium, hand in the slip, and I will go bananas because CeeDee Lamb is going to be the second coming of, I've been saying DeAndre Hopkins. Maybe it's not Hopkins, maybe it's some other insert, wide receiver here, but I think he's going to be really freaking good, and I would be absolutely stoked if the Jets added him to their roster. At number 12, I have the Raiders following up the Jets with the second wide receiver off the board, and that's going to be wide receiver Jerry Jeudy out of Alabama. He's 6'1", 192 pounds, and graded out as an 86 overall on Pro Football Focus. Just like they took Amari Cooper a few years back, they come back to the Alabama well and bring in Jerry Jeudy. He is a very sound technical route runner. I've always kind of compared him to Antonio Brown in that respect. So maybe they liked Antonio Brown so much that they traded for him last year. They liked his route running. They tried to emulate that with Jerry Jeudy here and give Derek Carr another weapon on his offense. At number 13, we have the San Francisco 49ers, and I have them trading out with the Denver Broncos. And hear me out on this. I think the Broncos really want a wide receiver, specifically Henry Ruggs. I think they're going to try and go up and get him. 6'5", 190 pounds, 75 overall in Pro Football Focus, but the dude blew up the combine. He absolutely had an insanely fast 40-yard dash and has massive hands. The guy can absolutely catch anything. I wouldn't be shocked if Ruggs goes before Jeudy in this draft. But here's the rationale between the trade here. I think the Broncos wanted to move up those 2 picks. The 49ers are going to be talking with the Philadelphia Eagles, potentially trying to move up into that slot to get Ruggs. Now, the Eagles could offer a second-round pick, but I think based on how far the 49ers would have to fall back, the Broncos would only have to give up their third-round pick, and that's a pretty good deal to be able to make sure you get the receiver you want. And the 49ers, yes, they do have another first-round pick at number 31 overall, but they don't pick again until the 5th round. So I could see them trying to trade down with this pick and try to add more draft picks. At number 14, we have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and I have them taking Jedrick Wills, the offensive tackle from Alabama. He's 6'5", 320 pounds, graded out as an 88 overall in Pro Football Focus. With Tom Brady now in the fold, you can pretty much eliminate quarterback from the Buccaneers options in the first round. They're going to try and go for a championship while they have Tom Brady on that contract. And I wanted to kind of give them a running back here, opted for the offensive line. I could kind of see it go either way. Tampa Bay fans, let me know in the comments what you guys think of that pick. At 15, I have the 49ers, who had just traded back with the Broncos. They're going to take the cornerback from LSU, Christian Fulton, 6 foot tall, 200 pounds, graded out as an 84.7 on Pro Football Focus. Now, I think the 49ers are going to get a legit cornerback here. They're going to try and prepare for when Sherman ultimately retires. He's getting up there in age, has had a little bit of injuries. He's played phenomenally well last year. So this is definitely a preemptive move here. Thought about giving them wide receiver, but I think I might try to address that later on in the draft. At number 16, we have the Atlanta Falcons. I have them taking Klavon Chiasen. I apologize if I butchered that name. He's the edge rusher from LSU. 6'4", 250 pounds, graded out as a 72.7 on Pro Football Focus. Yes, they did just add Dante Fowler. He is very young. He knows Dan Quinn. Dan Quinn knows him. He scouted him when he was at Florida. I could see them looking to add another edge rusher, especially in a division with Tom Brady, with Drew Brees. Insert whatever quarterback is ultimately going to be the Carolina quarterback. I know they have Teddy Bridgewater right now, but I think getting after the quarterback is going to be very paramount in that division. And having 2 edge rushers is probably a smart move for the Atlanta Falcons. At number 17, I have the Cowboys selecting C.J. Henderson, the cornerback from Florida. He's 6'1", 191 pounds. Graded out as a 62.6 on Pro Football Focus last year, but unfortunately he was injured, so that's really kind of a deceptive grade. The guy's a baller. I feel like it's a little too early for a center. Yes, Frederick's just retired, so I think that could be an option if they wanted to maybe trade down a little bit, but I expect that maybe to be a second-round pick for the Cowboys. With the departure of Byron Jones heading to the Dolphins, it leaves a void in the Cowboys secondary. So I think they land one of the top cornerbacks in this draft in C.J. Henderson. At number 18, we have the Miami Dolphins' second first-round pick. This is the pick they got from the Steelers when they sent Fitzpatrick up that way earlier in the year. I have them taking the offensive tackle out of the University of Houston, Josh Jones. 6'7", 310 pounds, 93.2 on Pro Football Focus. This guy is a huge dude. He's absolutely enormous, and you can't teach size. Now, I think they're going to try and replace Tunsil. That would be my guess here. They need that new left tackle. They would love to have that same kind of consistency, and this guy was really good in Houston. He only allowed 18 pressures out of nearly 1,300 pass blocking snaps, so I think you're getting a really good guy. Yes, the level of competition is questionable, and I think that's probably where you might see a little bit of rust coming into the league, but I think this guy could be a really good tackle. At number 19, we have the Oakland Raiders. This is their second pick of the first round. This is the pick they got from the Bears, obviously the second first-round pick in the Khalil Mack trade. I have them taking Kenneth Murray, the linebacker out of Oklahoma, 6'2", 243 pounds, graded out as a 68.3 on Pro Football Focus. Now, Mike Mayock loves his good football players and loves guys with good character, and Murray is just that. I think he could be a long-term solution for the Raiders at their linebacker position. Yes, they did bring two guys in free agency, but I think they have a little bit more room for improvement, and you get a book-end blue-chip player in Murray. At number 20, we have the Jaguars taking the pick that they got in the Jalen Ramsey trade. I have them taking defensive tackle out of South Carolina, Javon Kinlaw. 6'6", 310 pounds, 89.3 on Pro Football Focus. Now, the Jaguars get really lucky here. I actually had Kinlaw possibly going to them at number 9, and just because of the way the board fell, he wound up falling down to number 20. So this is a really good top 10 level tackle, defensive tackle, that the Jaguars are getting, and I think that could help fill the void from Marcel Darius, who they had to cut due to salary cap ramifications. At number 21, we have the Philadelphia Eagles, and I have them selecting the speedy wide receiver out of LSU, Justin Jefferson. He's 6'3", 192 pounds, graded out as an 85.3 on Pro Football Focus. And I'll be honest, Justin Jefferson is my number 2 receiver in this draft. Guys are going to give me a ton of hell for it with the whole Henry Ruggs and Jerry Jeudy thing. But I thought Justin Jefferson was the best wide receiver on the field when Alabama and LSU played earlier this year. I think they get a replacement for Deshaun Jackson as far as a long-term thing. They have Jackson this year, but I think Jefferson could be a staple wide receiver for that Philadelphia offense. At number 22, we have the Minnesota Vikings. This is the pick they got from the Stefon Diggs trade with the Buffalo Bills. I have them replacing Diggs with a wide receiver here. I have Laviska Shenault Jr. coming out of Colorado, 6'2", 220 pounds, 86.9 on Pro Football Focus, and this guy runs like a wide receiver, but hits like a running back. He breaks tackles like a running back. It's absolutely phenomenal to watch this guy play, and I've only really been turned on to him the last, I would say, week or so. I didn't know too much about him until I started diving into this mock draft. Actually, Green Bean was the one that brought him up to me, so Green Bean, I'll give you a little bit of credit there. Big-time wide receiver. I think he is a home run threat for the Minnesota Vikings, and I would be very excited if I had him on my team with Adam Thielen, with Dalvin Cook, and Kirk Cousins. I think it's going to be a very good offense for that Minnesota Viking team. At number 23, we have the New England Patriots, and I think we could see them stick with Jarrett Stidham or roll with Hoyer for a year, but I think Jordan Love, the quarterback out of Utah, if he is available and the Patriots don't have to trade up, I think that could be the selection here. He's kind of playing the style of quarterback that you sort of expect the NFL to kind of go in. He's that mobile, run-around style quarterback. 6'4", 225 pounds, 75 overall in Pro Football Focus. I think that Bill Belichick could get a lot out of him. I think it will be important for him to get a quarterback in the first round. At some point, it may not be this year. Maybe they wait till next season to do it. So either way, Patriot fans, if you are watching this, let me know down below. Do you want a quarterback in this draft? Do you want to wait till next year, kind of see what Stidham has? But I think the Pats could get their new signal caller in this draft. At number 24, we have the New Orleans Saints. I have them taking Patrick Queen, the linebacker out of LSU. He's 6'1", 227 pounds, graded out as a 74.6 on Pro Football Focus. Now, the Saints made a very hard push for Jamie Collins, according to their fan forums, so I went with linebacker here. I kind of figured that was a tip of the hat. They get a new leader on their defense to join Demario Davis. I think they're going to have a really good defensive unit, a sneaky good defensive unit that's going to help that offense get the ball back. At number 25, I have the Minnesota Vikings selecting an edge rusher out of Penn State. Gonna butcher this name, Yetur Gross-Matos. Sorry. 6'5", 259 pounds, 84.7 on Pro Football Focus. I think they're looking to replace the edge presence that is lost from Everson Griffin. Now, that could easily be Epineza from Iowa, plug and play whichever one you want. But I think edge rusher might be the pick at number 25. At number 26, we have the Lions, who got this pick from the Texans through the Dolphins. Dolphins got this pick through the Tunsil trade, wound up trading it to the Lions to get up and go get their quarterback at number 3. So Lions own this pick right now. I have them taking Xavier McKinney, the linebacker or safety out of Alabama. He's 6'1", 200 pounds, graded out as an 88.4 on Pro Football Focus. Now, I'll admit, I did not really know which direction to go with the Lions here. I sort of figured they wanted a linebacker, but I didn't really see a linebacker that kind of made sense at this spot. So I went with the linebacker safety hybrid. They could use a little bit of help in the slot, and this guy could play slot, linebacker, and safety. He actually played equal amount of time in all those positions last year, so I think he kind of hit two birds, or I guess three birds with one stone. At number 27, we have the Seattle Seahawks. I have them taking edge rusher A.J. Epineza from Iowa. He's 6'5", 277 pounds, graded out as an 85.5 on Pro Football Focus. Now, as of recording this video, Jadeveon Clowney is still a free agent, so he could go back to Seattle. He could go to another team. Obviously, that could change some of what happens with this mock draft, so I would have to adjust accordingly. But I don't think he's going to go back to the Seahawks. I think that leaves them with a hole at edge rusher. They look to add one of the top rushers in this class with Epineza here. At number 28, we have a very interesting situation for the New York Jets. This is where the Baltimore Ravens are picking, and I think depending on who is available at this slot, you could see Joe Douglas try to make a phone call over to his buddy Eric DeCosta, who was the director of college scouting when Joe Douglas was just a scout for the Ravens. Now, in order to make this move, the Jets would have to give up number 48, number 79, just to get up there. I think they probably throw in Avery Williamson as well. That gives the Baltimore Ravens a starter at linebacker to kind of help that defensive unit, as well as two more draft picks in the second and third round. Now, the reason for this trade is the Jets see the Titans sitting there at 29 and fear that an offensive tackle could be going off the board to replace Jack Conklin. Jets are going to move up. They're going to take Ezra Cleveland, the offensive tackle from Boise State. He's 6'6", 309 pounds, graded out as an 82.5 on Pro Football Focus. Now, this may seem like a reach right now because a lot of sites really have this guy falling into the mid-second round where the Jets could feasibly get him. But I think if you can get your number one wide receiver and your left tackle of the future in the first round, get them locked in on those 5-year contracts, I think it would be a very smart move for Joe Douglas to go up and get his guy. Now, this guy blew up the combine. You're going to see speed and agility from this offensive lineman that you don't generally see from offensive linemen. So I think this would be a smart move by the Jets if they go up and get him. I would like to see them get tackle, obviously at 11, then take a receiver later on. But because of how the board falls, I could see them making this move to go up and get their guy to protect Sam Darnold's blind side. And one stat that I really liked, of his 1,037 pass blocking snaps over the last 2 years, he's only given up 29 pressures. So this guy has really proven to be very good, and I think he's only going to get better when he starts getting a little more, coaching at the NFL level. He might struggle a little bit with the speed rushers, but I think he's going to absolutely dominate anyone that tries to bull rush him. The guy is an absolute unit of a player. At number 29, we have the Tennessee Titans, and now I have them taking Trayvon Diggs, the cornerback out of Alabama, obviously brother to Stefon Diggs. He's 6'2", 207 pounds, graded out as an 88.5 on Pro Football Focus. And I'll be honest, I was not entirely sure where to go here for the Titans. I kind of wanted them to take a tackle, but I was kind of lost. So Titan fans, give me hell down below in the comments. I'm not exactly sure where to go. This guy's really big, 6'3", 215 pounds. He can man up against pretty much any wide receiver in the NFL. His one weakness is probably going to be on double moves. He doesn't have the most elite comeback recovery speed, but I think you could get a really good lockdown corner at 29 here for the Titans. At number 30, and this seems to be a guy that is just mocked to the Packers over and over and over again, and that's Denzel Mims, the wide receiver out of Baylor. He's 6'3", 215 pounds, graded out as an 81.9 on Pro Football Focus. And at 6'3", he ran a 4.38 40-yard dash. That is absolutely scary fast for someone that size. I think they get an absolute beast of a weapon across from Devontae Adams and try to go all in with Aaron Rodgers, with all those weapons, to try and win a Super Bowl before Rodgers is done. At number 31, we have the San Francisco 49ers' second first-round pick, and there's probably an argument to go wide receiver here. I'm a little concerned about their center position. I think this is the perfect spot to select one. I have them taking Cesar Ruiz, the center from Michigan, 6'4", 319 pounds, graded out as a 70.5 in Pro Football Focus's grading. He's arguably the best center in the draft between him and Tyler Biadasz. It seems like Ruiz is getting the nod from a lot of mock draft sites, so I put him here. Wes Richburg needs to be upgraded. I think you can take the best center in the draft, protect Jimmy G. The offensive line runs through that center position, so absolutely, absolutely protect your quarterback. Ruiz is a great pick here at 31. The final pick in the first round is going to go to the Kansas City Chiefs, and I have them taking DeAndre Swift, the running back from Georgia. 5'9", 215 pounds. He graded out as an 80.4 on Pro Football Focus, and this guy is absolutely elite at catching the ball out of the backfield, and I think Andy Reid would love to have his opportunity to have that kind of LaShawn McCoy or Westbrook-style running back that could catch out of the backfield and really dominate an offensive game, and that will kind of give a little bit of time to Patrick Mahomes in the play action. I think teams are going to have to account for that running back that they really haven't had to account for since Kareem Hunt was there. This bugs me a little bit because I sort of want the Jets to sort of trade Le'Veon Bell over there halfway through the season, but I think DeAndre Swift would be a very good pick for the Chiefs here. I think they get a legit starting running back that will impact immediately and, go for the repeat in the Super Bowl. Guys, let me know what you think of this entire mock draft down below in the comments. Where was I totally wrong? Yell at me. I'm sure I have some guys drafted way higher than you expect them. Probably have some guys falling out of the first round that shouldn't be falling out of the first round. I don't know what I'm doing. Join the mock draft contest, link in the description down below. I'm going to be live streaming the draft, so if you guys want to tune into that, you could yell at me and kind of see some reactions during that whole process. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments below. And as always, go Jets.